Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Allenson as part of the custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen. This is from New Pence titled The Last Band on Stage. And we're going to listen through this track from start to finish. And we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Let's do it. It's nice to have the sounds of the cassette, right? Oh, okay, we've got a really somber arpeggiated guitar line there with some reverb tails on it. Great tone to it though, you know. Great presence of the vocals in the mix. Instantly recognizable vocal style. We do have lyrics at the end, by the way. Thanks to Alan for those. There's a really warm tone to the drums and stuff like that, like they're almost filtered. I'm not sure if I like it. I was expecting a little more brightness to those, but maybe that's just something they wanted to do from like a stylistic perspective. Maybe it gets a little bit brighter later on and evens out. I think it's mostly with the hi-hat tone, you know, which is interesting because I really like those fills of the drum kit and everything like that. I'm wondering if this is like a re-upload or something like that. Really full bass tone. A little bit of extra kind of clashiness or crispiness there with the distortion. There's a lot of warmth and kindness in the tone of those vocals. Is there like a synth pad? Oh, there are keys as well. I was wondering if that synth was coming from. There's a lot of warmth, but it also sounds kind of sad, you know? I'm loving the male and female harmonies there. They're wonderful. Interesting delay. It kind of reminds me of some like Coldplay or U2FX, you know? The kind of jangly kind of goodness to it. This is a fairly conservative kind of song from them. And I think it's definitely more about the story than like the exploration with the instrumental components. Don't get me wrong. I like how they're playing. I like the sounds that they're making. It's just not, you know. I think it's the violins that are adding an emotional gravity to it. It's very impactful because of that, you know. And just the way they're unifying with the vocals, there's a bit of extra weight to them. They're kind of like, it's like a forbidden warmth, like a sadness, like you're mourning something, you know. Like you're talking of a time that's gone away. And finishing on that guitar line, it's pretty dope, eh? Is this them when they were younger or something like that? Are these other bands as well? Are these new pants or other bands? Taro Weekly Vlog. Oh, okay. Taro Shiba Inu. Okay. Interesting. And we've got lyrics time now. This is the last song we will leave after singing, although the music continues, but as anxious as you. Oh, okay. If we are still barren, how can I resolve your worries? Oh, okay. Started to rain outside the stadium. Those who are gone can't leave. We stand in this crowd, listen to the roar of thunder and lightning. We separated at 27. She sang her favorite melody. The old days are dazzling. The great love has ended. Oh no. So I think this song, again, this is me kind of going into a roar. I think this song is about them, either like it's people that they're leaving behind, or it's one of their last songs. They're realizing they're getting older and that they can't maybe play forever. And this is them coming to terms with the fact that it isn't a constant, that there will be an end eventually. You know, they've got that last performance where they're all stuck together in the room together, and it's very, very intense emotionally and all that. But inevitably, it has to end sometime. And this is the conclusion of my SP Patrons review of New Pants with the last band on stage, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I've spoken about what the track's about. I do think it's about a band that's coming to terms with the way that it's operated. It's been around, maybe it's been around for a while. There are images of them when they were younger. And they're getting older now, obviously. Now, at a point now where they're having to sort of like look at themselves and go, okay, what more do we have to offer? What more can we do for people? And so they're just singing about the fact that this is who they are. This is their last song. And I suppose they're just trying to sort of reach out to you to sort of let you know that. It's a very bittersweet thing because they're clearly a successful band, New Pants. But at the same time, I get the impression that like it's like they've found success, but they know that it's not a forever thing. And that can be difficult because you want that success to just continue, right? Because why not? Of course you would, but it's brutal. That's life basically, you know. I think that it's a really tremendous thing to want to make a song about something like this. I think that, you know, a lot of us have to be really brave and accept the fact that we aren't going to be around forever, and that whatever we're doing, if we want it to last, we have to make the most of it, also have the opportunity to do so. So kudos to New Pants for making a song about it. I think it's beautiful. The vocal performance in this matched the tone of the story well. The guy sounded wistful. The lady vocals came in and were a great sort of support in the chorus sections, but the guy just sounded like he was kind of sad and kind of like looking back on things and calmly sort of like iterating the decisions, the journey forward. It was a really kind of interesting sort of vibe that I got from the vocals there. The notes were hit fantastically, comfortable in their head and chest voice, had their own sort of style and way of approaching things. No complaints about the vocal performance at all. It's just the reason that I kind of feel a little bit kind of like, it's just because of the fact that the song is like that, you know? It is the last band on stage. You know, you have the big hurrah, but you got to go forward after that. It's just part of life. I think that listening to this band made me really happy. I love New Pants. I think their music is fantastic. I've got lots of time for it. Because they sing well, they tell stories well, and the songs are definitely structured well. I mean, at five minutes, this is one of the songs from them that I think, does this need it to be 5 minutes? Did this song need it to be 5 minutes? And I think it gets away with it. There's enough interesting components in here from a storytelling perspective. There is a bit of repetition in here, I'm not going to lie, but I think they picked the right place to end it. In the song itself, they had a story they wanted to sort of go out and sort of talk about, you know, being in the rain with the people and the thunder and stuff outside the stadium and stuff like that. So they needed multiple verses to do that. They wanted to repeat those hook lines there to kind of keep the vibe going and keep the shift. It was almost as if the band didn't want to leave in a way. I think that's kind of beautiful. I think if the track had been really short, that would have just been right. You had your 2 minutes on stage and you're off, so it makes sense that the track would be longer. You know, there were some clever decisions made here on that regard. The guitar riff at the start was so clairvoyant. It was so wonderful in how kind of soothing it is, but at the same time, it illustrates that things aren't absolutely fantastic or perfect or where they would necessarily want to be. With a guitar riff that's solid, I think that the bass coming in as well as the keys and the drums kind of picking up the groove as we went along to kind of facilitate everything going on with the vocals, and then this, in a sense, coming in sort of add a bit of extra high-end wispiness there, a bit of fuzziness in those rhythm sections there. And obviously the strings coming along to unify with the vocal melodies there. I just think that's all we needed to carry this. I don't even really know if we could have fit in an extra vocal part there. Or no, not a vocal part, but like an extra like lead melody there. You know, I think it might have been a little bit sort of a little bit like redundant or too much even, just because we clearly weren't wanting to make this a massive, overwhelming, overbearing track. We wanted this to be a lot of what I've heard from New Pants, which is kind of nostalgic. It's like a fuzzy blanket that you wear and you wrap around yourself and you kind of get lost in it. That's the kind of vibe I got from this, and I kind of think that's wonderful because I think a lot more music needs to be like that, but it's finding the line between, oh, this song is kind of like, oh, like makes me feel good, and oh, but I couldn't listen to this for 2 minutes because I'd fall asleep. They've found the right midpoint there, which I appreciate. Clearly, you know, with this band, I hear them and I go, what could we have done to have made this better? I don't think anything musically would have improved it, even though I could still potentially have argued that there needed to be more, like maybe a little bit more sort of lead, you know, like variety in melodies and like the later choruses, or there's like an extra room. Maybe there's room for like a guitar solo or something like that. I don't know. It was fine. It's what I'm used to from New Pants. It's their kind of aesthetic. And I don't think that I do kind of think that a bigger chorus would have suited it because it was their last hurrah. But you got the impression from the beginning that they weren't necessarily happy about it at all. So it's just a weird kind of vibe there. But that's okay. It doesn't need to be the way I want it. Music is subjective. I think that to be fair though, there was not a note out of place. And the harmonies they had in there, the chord progressions were easy to follow along to. And I think that they kept a fairly steady state of affairs with the bass lines and like the main motif there throughout the track, which is fine. Again, it sounds like a single, but it would be cool to hear more stuff from the same era to see if there was more sort of tonal or diversity in general with the composition, just to make sure we're not completely checking out and just ticking the boxes, you know. But the recording, mixing, mastering was fine. I'm really happy with the way that sounded. The vocals were recorded really, really well, nicely filled and EQ'd. I think this video had been re-uploaded from like another channel or something like that, because the hi-hat cymbals sounded a bit weird, like they were a bit compressed, and there was a bit of weird EQing going on with the drums. They sound a bit flat. I like the guitar riffs though, they were fantastic. You know, the guitars sounded nicely tuned and they had a great airiness to them. And the bass was nice and full and poignant in the low end. It could just be how it was mixed. Maybe this is what the tone they wanted. Maybe they wanted more of a live take or something like that. Maybe it was a live recording, you know. But either way, things were notched nicely in the frequency spectrum. There weren't any weird resonances they were notched nicely in the stereo field, should I say. There were no weird resonances in the frequency spectrum, and it was nice and loud without pumping. I mean, there was dynamic range as well, which I appreciate. I mean, all in all, I'm mostly happy with this track. I didn't necessarily feel anything more than I think what the song tried to convey, which is kind of I don't know, man. Maybe it's just I don't like the idea of contemplating my own mortality or the the fact that things don't go forever, you know. Maybe I'm just feeling uncomfortable because I'm thinking about what they're discussing within the track, and that's kind of the point of it. I'm grateful to have reviewed it nonetheless. Another solid track from New Pants. And if you enjoyed it, please do go check out their various social medias, and I'm sure this will be on all digital stream platforms. But stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP Patrons video. Spiderhands out.